Welcome back to Next Gen Console Watch, our show following all the news and updates on the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. I'm Daemon Hatfield. As always, I'm joined by Ryan McCaffrey, host of IGN's Xbox Podcast Unlocked.
Great to see you, Damon.
You as well. And here for the PlayStation side of things this week is Matt Kim. Matt, welcome to the show.
Hello. Hey, yeah, excited to be here.
And we've just gotten the first Sony State of Play of the year, just concluded a couple hours ago. Let's talk about that. We knew ahead of time they're going to be focusing heavily on Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League and PSVR 2, along with some third-party announcements. So we weren't expecting anything big first-party out of the show. However, the consensus seems to be mild disappointment, I think. It seems to be people, they didn't really get people excited for what PlayStation has in store for 2023. Matt, let's start with you.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair, I think. I think that's like the popular consensus, and also I think the internal consensus among us is that it was kind of a disappointment. And, I think it is. Like the PSVR 2 just came out, and this is your chance to sort of announce, not even like in the near term, but just, hey, here's some exciting stuff coming down the line. And earlier when they announced the show, they even said that this was going to be a PSVR 2 sort of focus show, with five releases or 5 announcements, and none of those announcements I would consider to be big blockbuster. This is a reason to get PSVR 2. This is a big title that's coming down the line. Maybe not now, but if you get a PSVR 2, you can play this game, and that kind of announcement was missing. I think that's not super great for VR 2 launch week.
Yeah, Ryan, you got yourself a PSVR 2.
Yep. Oh, that side. It's right over there. I'm thrilled to have it, and I've actually been having a good time with. I've started Horizon Call of the Mountain. I actually haven't even gotten back to Gran Turismo 7 VR after I raved about it on IGN after getting to go play it at Sony. So I've still got to do that. I did start No Man's Sky in VR, which I haven't played since launch, and of course that game has been transformed in the very best of ways over the years, and that feels really fun in VR so far. There's Resident Evil Village, so there's some older stuff that's new enough for me that I haven't really looked at in a while. But yeah, echoing Matt, like we've been calling for Half-Life Alyx on this show for a long time, and we're gonna keep doing it. I thought today was gonna be the day. Like, I'll be totally honest with you, because when Sony announced this earlier this week and said we're gonna have 5 PSVR 2 titles, I thought, this is it. Here we go. It's launch week, as Matt noted. To get some momentum for the next phase of PSVR 2 past this initial launch window, they'll announce from Valve a partnership, and we'll have a port of Half-Life Alyx, which genuinely is a killer app that would and should convince a lot of people to get a PSVR 2. It's that good of a game, and it's that good of a VR experience. But it didn't happen, and the games we got looked fine. I'm looking forward to getting more of a deeper look at them, giving them a try, but nothing that got me excited for the next wave of this expensive device that I just bought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If they had announced Half-Life Alyx, I would have ordered one today. I would have ordered a PSVR 2 today, Yeah, those 5 games didn't do anything to me to make me want to get a PSVR 2. The other big anchor point of the Sony State of Play was Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And I think that's also a game that has an uphill battle trying to get people excited for it. Now, people love the Rocksteady Batman games. This is not that. This is something different. It seems like they're just...
It's in the Arkhamverse, same universe.
But it seems like they're just doing the same thing as Anthem and Marvel's Avengers. And those games were big disappointments. I don't know. Rocksteady has probably earned the benefit of the doubt at this point, but I think a lot of people are really, or this just isn't what they would probably choose to get from Rocksteady if they had the choice. Matt, how are you feeling about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League?
Yeah, I mean, there were rumblings that it was going to be a sort of ongoing sort of game similar to Marvel's Avengers for a long time, and I guess today was the official confirmation, even though it's been sort of hinted at and teased out a little bit. It's one of those things that I think you're right. I think if it ain't broke, why fix it? It's not like the Arkham formula is bad now anymore. Like Insomniac has had great success with the Spider-Man games, which are very Arkham-like, and people love those games. And so it's strange, I think, to see one of the developers responsible for popularizing that kind of gameplay sort of change course into a style of game that has not had a lot of recent success, considering the news that the recent news that like Marvel's Avengers is be sunsetting down, and also Anthem didn't last all that much longer either. So it's uphill battle is probably the right way to put it.
Ryan, Suicide Squad also is coming to Xbox. It's not a PS5 exclusive. How are you feeling about it?
I will go a little harsher than Matt. I've yet to be excited about this game. It's just there's something about it. We've seen it at the Game Awards once or twice. We've seen it just about maybe 3 or 4 times in total, and it's just something about it. It's just never gotten me excited. And I really hope that this extended gameplay showcase today, recorded today at the State of Play, was going to do it. It didn't. This is it still just looks like it's shoot or punch the purple things. That's the game. A 4-player co-op live service game, requires an internet connection at all times. It's just Rocksteady, as Matt was saying, they're a developer that we owe so much to for taking superhero video games and making them good. Remember, like Damon, you and I are old enough to remember pre-Arkham games, they were mostly bad. Not just like bad, but like actually really low budget. And, companies were not giving the time or the talent to make good superhero games. And Rocksteady changed that with the Arkham games. And so the fact that it has been 8 years since their last release, Batman Arkham Knight, okay, we'll cut it to 7 if you want to count Batman Arkham VR, a day one launch title for the PSVR 1, but I wouldn't quite count that. It was a really neat 90-minute experience. But anyway, it just, the fact that they innovated in so many ways with the Batman Arkham games. You had an incredible story. You had just wonderfully moody art direction, the way Gotham City was a character unto itself. You had stealth gameplay. You had free-flowing combo-based melee combat. You had vehicle stuff. You had the detective stuff. You had all these wonderful elements that came together to make this just almost perfect Batman experience, superhero experience. And now 8 years later, the follow-up to that from this wonderfully talented team is so far really generic-looking live service co-op shooter. There's just nothing about this game. Now, I'm not going to write it off. I haven't played it yet, but sure. I just can't deny the fact that everything I've seen of this game leaves me with very little excitement.
Yeah,
it's disappointing. I guess that's what I'm trying to convey. Is the bar set so high by this studio? Yeah, is not being met for me in every time we've seen this game so far.
Well, yeah, the thing that irks me is that, if they wanted to move away from like a solo experience where you're just like Batman and wanted to make, make you part of a group or a team, that was done very, very well with Guardians of the Galaxy and it remained a single player experience, right?
Right.
It doesn't have to be a live service game. Some of the other highlights from the State of Play, I think that Humanity game looks very cool. That's the one from the Tetris Effect group where you're a dog leading humans around in an action puzzle action game. Kind of reminds me of Intelligent Cube in some ways. We got the final 3 launch characters confirmed for Street Fighter 6. There's another look at Resident Evil 4, a game that I don't think needs a lot of, I think everyone's pretty much on board with that one already. So like that's kind of it. There's then a couple other like smaller.
Tsuchiya looked cool, and that's a PlayStation Plus game. I thought that looked neat.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It looks okay. It is launching into PlayStation Plus, I think, next month. So with that said, Matt, were there any other highlights for you? And what do you think, sort of like as a whole, was this a successful State of Play for Sony?
The highlight, I think, was you mentioned it, the Humanity game, the one with the dog. Tetris Effect was one of my favorite PS4 games of last gen, and it's one of the best VR experiences I've ever had. I'm very excited for that one. So that one kind of just snuck in, and that was the only one that, where I tend to live tweet these things a little bit sometimes, and I think that was the only game that made me go, oh, wow, that's happening, and that was like it. So I guess that would be the highlight, but in terms of the overall show itself, not great. Bad, not great. Yeah. If you sneak in a third-party Naruto license game in there as part of the announcement lineup, it's probably not a super strong showing.
Yeah. And this is coming on the heels of 2 presentations from Xbox and Nintendo that were super well received, and they shadow dropped amazing games at both of those conferences. Hi-Fi Rush, which we see right behind you, Ryan. Ryan, any sort of any final thoughts on today's state of play, yesterday's?
Yeah, I think from what taking the temperature of the community here, I don't think we're alone in our disappointment with this particular state of play. Jeff Keighley, who has it's a large sample size, he's got over 1 million Twitter followers, and his following is probably about as platform agnostic as anyone in the video game space can be. Like, my following is going to be pretty Xbox heavy, and Greg Miller's following is going to be pretty PlayStation heavy. So Jeff Keighley, as he often does after these things, put up a poll. How would you grade today's PlayStation State of Play? 70% of respondents said C, D, or below.
Wow.
It was not a pleasant response for Sony. And if you want to make it a fanboy thing, I think we'd say that Xbox has had the better event thus far in 2023. But yeah, it's not that there was bad stuff. It's not that the state of play was terrible, but I would say that it didn't, as a new PSVR 2 owner and as a PlayStation 5 owner, it didn't do a lot to get me excited for everything up until Spider-Man 2 in the fall. It's not left me with a lot of excitement between now and then.
Yeah, it is a strange time, but there is no first-party PlayStation game with a release date now.
Yeah,
there's nothing. And there's quite a few for Xbox. So we'll see. Okay, last episode, we asked you in a poll, which VR headset are you most interested in now that PSVR 2 is out? And perhaps unsurprisingly, that was the winning result with 47%. But just behind that, the second winning result was, I'm not interested in VR. So there's still a challenge trying to get more people into these ecosystems.
We need killer apps.
We need killer apps.
Half-Life Alyx.
We need Half-Life Alyx, yeah. I know. A new poll for you to vote on for next week. How excited are you for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League? Very, a little, not at all. Make sure you vote at IGN.com. We will share the results with you next episode, and that's going to do it for this edition of Next Gen Console Watch. Thank you to both Matt and Ryan. Thank you to everyone working behind the scenes to make this episode possible. My name is Damon. We'll be back next week with more PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X news. We'll see you then.